Hello everyone, welcome back to the epicenter of the awakening, where we dismantle the most sophisticated psychological traps ever devised to crush the human spirit. Today, we are opening the door to a room that society often whispers about but never fully exposes, the bedroom. Have you ever felt it? That sudden, bone-chilling drop in temperature the second the physical act is over? You were seeking connection, seeking a sanctuary, but instead, you found yourself lying next to a stranger who turned into ice before your very eyes. We are asking the big haunting question that keeps you awake in the hollow of the night. Why does the narcissist become a phantom of coldness after they have been inside your most sacred space? Imagine a cinematic thriller where the protagonist realizes they are not in a romantic embrace, but in the grip of a predator who has just finished a meal. That is the reality of the narcissistic postcoital discard. It is a sharp, jagged transition from intense, performed passion to a clinical, terrifying indifference. You are left staring at the ceiling, wondering how a person who just mirrored your deepest desires could suddenly treat you like a piece of furniture they've finished using. This isn't just a bad mood or tiredness. This is a calculated psychological withdrawal. It is the signature of a soul that has harvested what it needed and has no further use for the field it just plundered. You've likely spent months gaslighting yourself, making excuses for their behavior. You tell yourself they are just exhausted or emotionally guarded. But your gut knows the truth. Your gut feels the predatory vacuum they've left behind. The narcissist's coldness isn't a reaction to you. It is a revelation of who they really are when the mask of the great lover is discarded. They have hijacked your biology, spiked your dopamine, and triggered your oxytocin, only to leave you in a state of chemical withdrawal. They have engineered your vulnerability only to use it as a weapon of abandonment, and tonight, we are exposing the blueprint of that cruelty. Most people don't want to talk about this because it feels too personal, too shameful. But the narcissist thrives in that shame. They want you to feel used because that is exactly how they perceive the interaction, as a utility. By remaining silent, we allow the predator to keep their hunting grounds clean. We are breaking that silence today. We are looking into the dead-eyed stare that follows the intimacy, the way they roll over and check their phone as if you don't even exist. This is the moment the secret knowledge begins to emerge. You were never their partner, you were their latest drip of high-grade, intimate supply. Think about the contrast. Moments ago, there were whispers of forever and a physical intensity that felt like a merging of souls. Now, there is a wall of static. The narcissist has effectively unplugged from you. They have achieved the orgasm of control, and the physical act was merely the delivery system. To them, the intimacy was a transaction where they won and you lost. The coldness you feel is the narcissist's internal reset button. They have satiated the beast of their ego, and now they are disgusted by the very humanity and vulnerability that you are offering in the afterglow. The haunting question lingers because the disconnect is so brutal. How can someone who treats you like a god during the act treat you like a ghost immediately after? This is the core of the addiction. The narcissist uses the physical act to reset the abuse cycle. Right when you are ready to walk away, right when you've finally had enough of the lies, they pull you back into the intimacy trap. They use your body to silence your brain. But the silence that follows is the most honest moment of the relationship. It is the moment the parasite is full, and the mask of the human is put back in the drawer. You are here because you are tired of lying next to a statue. You are tired of the postcoital discard that leaves you feeling more alone than when you are actually by yourself. You are sensing that this is not just sex, it is a form of spiritual and emotional harvesting. The narcissist is a pharmacological predator, and they have turned your bedroom into a laboratory for your own destruction. They want you to stay in the fog, begging for a sliver of the warmth they just showed you, but I am here to tell you that the warmth was never real. It was a heat lamp designed to keep the supply fresh until it was ready to be consumed. The narcissist's coldness is a weaponized withdrawal. By becoming ice, they force you to become the pursuer. You start asking, "Is everything okay?" Or "Did I do something wrong?" This is exactly where they want you. They have flipped the script so that you are now auditioning for their attention after you've already given them everything. It is a psychological masterstroke of dominance. They have turned your most vulnerable moment into a position of weakness. They aren't cold because they are tired. They are cold because they are punishing you for having a soul that they will never, ever possess. Stay with me, because we are about to peel back the skin on this addiction. We are moving past the feel-good illusions and into the clinical reality of why they do this. This isn't just a story about a bad relationship. It's a documentary of a psychological war fought on the battlefield of your own skin. You need to understand the mechanics of the cold discard if you ever hope to reclaim your body and your sovereignty. The narcissist wants you to believe this is normal or just who they are, but I am here to tell you it is a deliberate act of soul murder. The exposure begins now. Don't look away, even if the truth burns. The haunting question of why they turn to stone is about to be answered with such blunt force that the chains of your confusion will begin to crack. You are not needy for wanting connection after intimacy. You are a human being who has been targeted by a creature that mimics humanity but loathes connection. We are going to deconstruct the cold aftermath, paragraph by paragraph, until you see the predator for what they really are, a hollow man holding a mask of passion while standing in a void of ice. To understand the narcissist's coldness, we must first look into the neurochemistry of the harvest. The narcissist provides what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement. During the act, they give you a superstimulus, an intensity that your brain mistakes for true love. But the narcissist is not feeling the passion, they are performing it to secure their dopamine hit. The coldness that follows is the dopamine crash of the predator. Once the act is over, their brain resets, and because they have no effective empathy, they no longer have a reason to play the role. You are no longer a person, you are a spent battery. Metaphorically, the narcissist is an emotional vampire who uses intimacy as a feeding ritual. During the act, they are siphoning your light, your vitality, and your supply. The coldness is the lethargy of the full predator. Have you noticed how they often seem energized and shining after the act, while you feel hollowed out and exhausted? You have literally been drained to power their false self. The coldness is their way of protecting the kill. They don't want to bond with you, they want to ensure that the energy they just took from you is not contaminated by your emotional needs. This is the objectification matrix. To a narcissist, you are an object with a function. Think of a vacuum cleaner. You use it to clean the floor, and when you are done, you put it back in the closet. You don't cuddle the vacuum cleaner. You don't ask the vacuum cleaner how its day was. This is how the narcissist views you in the afterglow. The function has been performed. The ego has been satiated. To stay warm or intimate after the act would be a waste of resources for them. It would require empathy, which is a currency they do not have. The coldness is simply the machine turning off. Let's talk about projection of shame. The narcissist carries a deep, subconscious loathing for their own needs and vulnerabilities. During intimacy, they are forced to confront their own biological humanness. The coldness that follows is a defense mechanism. They hate themselves for needing you, so they punish you by becoming ice. They project their own dirtiness onto you. By treating you with coldness, they cleanse themselves of the interaction. They want to prove to themselves that they are unaffected and superior. The coldness is their way of saying, I am the master, and you are just the servant. The trauma bond is reinforced in these cold moments. The sudden withdrawal creates an emotional vacuum in your chest. Your brain, desperate for the oxytocin hit to return, goes into panic mode. You start to overfunction to win back the warmth. This is exactly what the predator wants. They have conditioned you to associate their presence with pleasure and their absence with pain. The coldness is the bait. It keeps you hooked, keeps you wondering, and keeps you chasing the high. It is a psychological slot machine where the payout is random, and you are the one putting in all the coins. The narcissist lacks object constancy. In their mind, if they are not interacting with you, you don't exist as a person with feelings. Once the physical act is over, the interaction is done. Their internal lens shifts away from you entirely. They aren't being mean in the way a human understands it, they are being absent. They have no internal memory of love to sustain the connection when the physical stimulation is gone. You are experiencing the great erasure. You are lying next to a person whose mind has already moved on to the next task, leaving you to rot in the silence. Consider the power of the discard. The narcissist's greatest fear is being known. During intimacy, there is a risk that you might see the empty man behind the mask. The coldness is a remasking. By becoming distant and clinical, they push you away before you can see too much. It is a preemptive strike. They reject you before you can reject them. They discard the intimacy to maintain their grandiosity. They want to remind you, and themselves, that they are untouchable. The coldness is the shield they put up to protect the rotting secret of their own insignificance. The narcissist is a transactional strategist. Every touch, every kiss, was a deposit they made to get what they wanted. Once they have withdrawn the supply, they see no reason to maintain their account. The coldness is the closed sign on the door. They have bankrupted your emotions to fund their own vanity. Have you noticed that they often pick a fight right after intimacy? This is to justify the coldness. They create a conflict so they can legitimately withdraw. It is a cinematic gaslighting ritual designed to make the discard feel like it was your fault. Why does it feel so evil or subhuman? Because it is. You are witnessing the absence of a soul. This post-coital dysphoria is your intuition screaming that you are in the presence of a predator. The narcissist's true self is a void, and the coldness is the radiation from that void. Your soul knows it has been violated, even if your body is still processing the dopamine. The static in the room is the sound of the narcissist's mask cracking. They are starving you of affection to ensure you remain hungry for the next time they decide to feed. We are approaching the turning point. You have seen the architecture of the void. You have felt the ice of the machine. Now, we are going to look at what happens when the supply starts to wake up. What happens when you stop chasing the warmth? The narcissist has a fail-safe for when they lose control, and it is the most malignant part of the cycle. We are moving into the dramatic shift, where the power dynamic shatters and the cold aftermath becomes a fight for your very survival. The mask is about to fall completely, and the monster is about to show its teeth. The dramatic turning point begins with a glitch in the performance. It's the moment you stop overfunctioning. You stop asking, "Are you okay?" You stop trying to warm up the ice. You simply lie there in the silence, mirroring their coldness. Watch the narcissist's reaction. It is a cinematic shift from indifference to inquisition. The predator is confused. The supply has stopped supplying. They rely on your anxiety to feel superior. When you provide stillness instead of panic, you are effectively killing their false self. The secret knowledge is this: their coldness is only powerful if you are afraid of it. When you stop reacting, the narcissist experiences narcissistic mortification. To them, your indifference is an execution. They have reset the machine, but the machine has decided to unplug. The narcissist will suddenly switch gears. They might become inappropriately affectionate or bizarrely hostile. They are trying to jumpstart the conflict to get a reaction. Any reaction. They would rather you scream than ignore them. They are addicted to your response. The plot twist is revealed. The cold one is actually the most desperate person in the room. This is the psychological power shift. You realize that their coldness was a bluff. It was a mask for their own insecurity. They turned to ice because they didn't know how to stay human without dominating. The moment you take away the dominance by not caring, the narcissist begins to collapse internally. They start hoovering right there in the bed. They might start future-faking or love-bombing to see if the drug still works. They are testing the line. But the line has been cut. You are now the observer, and they are the subject under the microscope. The shift is visceral. For the first time, you feel disgust where there used to be desire. The ice no longer feels like mystery, it feels like malfunction. You look at them and see a biological error, a pathological entity, rather than a lover. This is the moment the trauma bond begins to fray at the edges. The narcissist senses this energetic divorce and will resort to gaslighting or shaming. They will call you cold or unfeeling. They will project their own behavior onto you to see if you will take the bait. But you are still. You are seeing through the cinema. Let's talk about the malignant pivot. When the narcissist realizes they can't hook you with coldness, they will try to break you with cruelty. They might make a brutal comment about your performance or your body. This is the final strike of the ego death. They want to leave a mark before they exit the interaction. They want to ensure that even if they lose the control, they leave you with a seed of insecurity. It is a malignant parting gift. They are defiling the intimacy to ensure that you can never remember it as good. They are poisoning the well as they leave. The cinematic tension is at its breaking point. You are sitting in the coldness, but the coldness is no longer inside you. You have exorcised the predator's frequency. The narcissist knows the game is over. They might discard you right then and there, or they might slink away into the silent treatment. This is the relapse window. They are waiting for you to reach out in the next 24 hours. They are gambling on your conditioning. But their conditioning has been broken by the truth. You are awake, and the awakened supply is the narcissist's kryptonite. The plot twist intensifies. The narcissist is actually terrible in bed once you see the mechanics. Without your projection of love, their passion looks like staged pornography. Their eye contact looks like surveillance. Their touch looks like ownership. You realize that you were the one providing all the soul in the interaction. You were the artist, and they were just the canvas. The narcissist is a hollow shell that borrowed your vitality to feel alive. Now that you've withdrawn the loan, they are flat and lifeless. They are a character with no script. The narcissist's panic turns into obsession. They might stalk your social media or triangulate you with an ex to see if they can trigger the addiction. They are fishing for supply. They are addicts who have lost their primary dealer. They never loved you. They loved the reflected glory of their power over you. Now that the mirror is shattered, they have no self. They are nothing. They are a static-filled broadcast on a dead channel. You have changed the station, and the narcissist is screaming into the void. The withdrawal is now theirs. They are withdrawing from control. They are withdrawing from reality. They are withdrawing into the false self to survive the exposure. You are healing from systemic devaluation. Every minute you spend in the truth is a nail in the coffin of the trauma bond. You are learning to breathe without their permission. The predator is still standing on the corner of your life, but you have realized that they are paper thin. They are a hologram of terror that you have walked through. We are moving into the collapse and consequences. The narcissist has lost the intimate stronghold, and the void is closing in on them. We are going to see the social and internal rot that follows the end of the illusion. The tone is getting darker and harsher because the truth is a brutal surgeon. The narcissist is about to face the one thing they cannot gaslight, the absolute indifference of a soul they could not break. The ego death of the predator is coming, and you are the witness who finally stopped caring. The collapse of the narcissist is a slow-motion cinematic car crash. It begins with the erosion of the supply chain. Without your primary regulation, the narcissist begins to decompensate. The coldness they once used as a weapon now becomes their prison. They are trapped in the ice they created. They become erratic, paranoid, and obsessive. They might engage in reckless sexual behavior with low-quality supply just to feel a flicker of the old high. But the high is gone. They are chasing a ghost. They are sinking into the muck of their own pathology. Internal panic for the narcissist feels like a biological end. They look in the mirror and see nothingness. They are haunted by narcissistic mortification, a shame so profound it feels like physical disintegration. They try to project this shame onto you, spreading smear campaigns and lies to anyone who will listen. They want to destroy your reputation because your sovereignty is a death sentence to their ego. They are a starving parasite that has killed its host and is now cannibalizing its own history. The tone is harsh because the reality is brutally ugly. Socially, the consequences are a slow burn isolation. The narcissist's mask is melting. Their charisma now feels oily and desperate. People begin to see the pattern. Their exes start talking to each other. The flying monkeys start to drift away as the narcissist's demands become too heavy. The narcissist is left in a desert of their own making. They never realized that integrity was the only currency that mattered in the long game. They spent their reputation to get a fleeting high, and now they are bankrupt. They are ghost hunting in an empty life. The coldness has a final act for the narcissist, malignant withdrawal. They might stalk you or monitor your life with clinical precision, but they do it from the shadows. They aren't doing this out of love, they are mining for negative supply. If they can't make you happy, they will make you miserable. Both are doses of relevance. They want to see that they still have the remote control to your emotions. Every reaction you give them is a hit of dopamine for their starving ego. This is why no contact is a life-saving medical intervention. You must close the shop. Watch the physical decay of the predator. Stress is a physical poison. The narcissist often ages brutally once their supply lines are cut. They look hollowed out and tired. The energy they stole from you is running out. They are a device that can't hold a charge. They plug into new people, but the connection is weak and flickering. They are obsolete technology in a world that is evolving toward authenticity. The cold aftermath has snapped shut on the dealer. They are trapped in their own empty laboratory, surrounded by broken glass. The internal rot is absolute. The narcissist starts to hate the new supply because they aren't you. They resent the work of having to start the performance over. They are bored with their own scripts. They are living ghosts haunting their own past conquests. They never realized that love was the only thing that grew over time. Their addiction to novelty has left them with a collection of broken toys. They are alone in a room full of strangers, still preening for an audience that has already left the theater. The lights are out, but they are still dancing. Consider the consequence of silence. While you are finding your voice, the narcissist is losing theirs. Their word salad no longer has the power to confuse. Their gaslighting no longer has the power to distort. They are shouting into a vacuum. They never realized that your belief in them was the only thing that made them real. Now that you have withdrawn your belief, they are fading into the static. They are white noise in the symphony of your recovery. You have edited them out of the final cut of your life. They have become a footnote in your greatness. The narcissist enters the malignant phase. They become overtly cruel because subtlety takes too much energy. They burn every bridge just to see the light of the fire. They sabotage their own careers, friendships, and families. They are scorched earth personalities. But the world just walks away. People don't hate the narcissist, they are indifferent to them. This is the ultimate torment for the ego-obsessed. To be ignored is to cease to exist. The narcissist's betrayal of you was the suicide of their own relevance. They are a broadcast with no listeners. Use the metaphor of the sinking island. The narcissist is standing on a piece of land that is being reclaimed by the sea. They are screaming at the tide, but the water doesn't care. The betrayal of you was the earthquake that broke the island away from the mainland of humanity. Now they are just drifting and drowning. They look toward the shore and see you standing on solid ground, and they realize, for a flicker of brutal clarity, that they threw away the only boat that could have saved them. That regret is the only honest thing they will ever feel. The collapse is total. The narcissist is left with the ruins of a life that was built on theft. They have no reserve of goodwill. They have no history of kindness. They have only the echoes of their own betrayals. They never realized that loyalty was the currency of survival. Now, they are bankrupt in a world that doesn't accept counterfeit love. The final truth is about to be delivered, and it is the final nail in the coffin of their grandiosity. The predator is now obsolete. You are the survivor who became the sovereign. The cold aftermath is theirs now. We arrive at the final truth, the punch that shatters the spell forever. The narcissist never realized that by dosing you with intimate coldness, they were actually exposing their own spiritual death. The ice was only effective as long as you believed the lie that they had value to withdraw. But once you saw the predator, the ice lost its power. Their coldness was the key you didn't have the courage to turn yourself. They set you free from the psychological prison of their influence. They discarded you, but they actually exorcised themselves from your soul. Emotional closure comes from the absolute recognition of their nothingness. You look back at the cold aftermath phase not as a tragedy, but as a biological function of a broken entity. A snake bites because it's a snake. A narcissist is cold because they are a void. It was never about you. It was about their incapacity for humanity. By accepting this brutal truth, you sever the emotional link. You are no longer waiting for an apology, because an apology from a void is just more static. You are the source of your own closure. You are the judge who has closed the case. Empowerment is the act of reclaiming your body. The narcissist tried to colonize your nervous system, but they only succeeded in tempering your steel. You are stronger, wiser, and more discerning because of the war you fought. The coldness was the fire that burned off the naivety. You are now UN manipulatable. You have a predator radar that is finely tuned. The narcissist's betrayal was the inciting incident that forced you to find your inner strength. You are sovereign. You are the ruler of your own chemistry. You are the master of your own desire. The cinematic closing is a slow burn of sovereignty. You see the narcissist in the rearview mirror of your life, a small, frantic figure fading into the distance. They are still venting, still lying, still being cold. But they are irrelevant to your atmosphere. You are breathing clean air. You are walking on solid ground. You have integrated the shadow and reclaimed the light. You are whole, and the narcissist is just a fragment of a bad dream you finally woke up from. The ice has melted, and your vision is sharp. You are looking at a future that belongs to you. Deliver the final truth punch to the narcissist's ghost. You didn't destroy me, you destroyed the only thing that was real in your life. You traded a kingdom for a handful of dirt, and now you have to live in the mud. This is the verdict of reality. While you are building a legacy of integrity, the narcissist is building a grave of regret. They will never know the peace of being truly loved or truly trustworthy. They are doomed to the poverty of the spirit forever. You have won the long game by simply remaining human. You have outlasted the monster. You are the victor. Provide yourself with the final truth of your value. The narcissist's cold strategy was a confession of your magnificence. They couldn't handle your light, so they tried to snuff it out with clinical coldness. But they only succeeded in spreading the fire. You are a force of nature. You are a soul with substance. You are unerasable. The cold discard was the evidence that you were too much for a small soul to contain. You are free to be great. The detox is complete, and your vitality is returning. You are glowing from within, fueled by your own truth. The final line is a quotable truth that echoes in the halls of psychological victory. The narcissist thought they were taking everything from you, but they actually gave you everything back: your time, your energy, your worth, and your future. They saved you from the burden of saving them. They are stuck with the one person who will never change, and you are free to change the world. You are the winner of the unfair game. The casino is closed, and you have walked out with your soul intact. You have everything you need. You are enough. Think of the survivors watching this right now. We are an army of the awakened. We have seen the betrayal, we have felt the coldness, and we have resurrected the self. We are the living proof that truth is more powerful than lies. We are the light that exposes the predator. Your healing is the final blow to the narcissist's ego. Every happy day you live is a victory in the psychological war. We are clean, and we are powerful. We are the community of the sovereign. We are the ones who walked through the fire and came out as diamonds. As the credits roll on this chapter of your life, remember that the coldness was the ending of a false story and the beginning of a true one. You are the author, the director, and the star. The narcissist was just a bad extra who missed their lines. The betrayal was the final scene of the illusion. Now, the real movie starts. And it is beautiful. You are no longer a victim, you are the alchemist. You have turned lead into gold. You have turned pain into power. You have turned the coldness into the cure. You are the hero of your own existence. The final, blunt, clinical truth that the narcissist will never realize until it is too late. The ice they used to freeze your heart was never their strength, but the evidence of their own spiritual extinction. And now that you have found the fire within, they are nothing but a disappearing shadow in the light of your soul. You have walked out of the laboratory of pain. The predator is alone with the static of their own nothingness. You are sovereign. You are free. You are home. Your light is your own, and it is blinding. The world is waiting for you. Go live.